Hello everybody, Michael the Librarian of Magic, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. I have returned just in time for another series of Halloween treats. Each day for the month of October I have drawn another Disney villain or some sort of Disney related Halloween goodness to help brighten all of our days, and hopefully that you enjoy these and follow along with me. If you would like to see a link to last year's collection of Halloween goodies, there will be a playlist at the end of this video for you to be able to click on and enjoy those as well. But thanks for being along for the ride. Thanks as always for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you don't do any of those things, I hope you enjoy these and it's a nice little addition to your season. Before I jump into the drawing, I wanted to just throw out a little disclaimer as I usually do with these. These drawings are all reproductions. They're not my own original art by any means. I just have fun drawing things that I see and practicing just the act of drawing. Where possible, I have tried as much as I possibly can to reproduce stills from shorts or Disney films themselves, and if not, from Disney merchandise or official Disney images that I can find. If there are any sort of images that aren't those for whatever reason, then just know that the art belongs to the original conception of other artists in every case. It's not my original conception. I'm merely just reproducing an image. You can, Google these characters or images for yourself and easily find where I got them from if you want to try to reproduce them for yourselves or just see where I've found the images. With that out of the way, I'm going to jump straight into the first image for this October the 1st to kick off our month. And there's going to be sort of a bonus with it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the first image of the month is Mickey Mouse in his sort of Halloween vampire costume garb. And I decided to add a little color to this one, even though I don't always do that. It's sort of only when it really strikes me or when I feel like it could really use it just to make it pop a little bit, but I don't always add color to it. So Mickey Mouse, what can be said? I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that maybe more has been written about Mickey Mouse than just about any other character. And there's so many tidbits and things that I could say now that I have an excuse to talk about Mickey. But they're not really in the scope of a video like this. It would be by no means exhaustive, and it would become long and unwieldy. He could be the subject of a much longer piece or even a series of pieces just about this one character alone. But I got it into my head that I wanted to, this year, as part of my sort of Halloween treats, I wanted to draw a Halloween related image of Disney's Fab Five. The Fab Five being Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto. And each year, they're usually, at this time of year, Disney usually releases some sort of new merch or whatever with new Halloween costumes or within the parks and everything like that. Each of the characters usually sports some sort of Halloween costume, and they have in past incarnations as well and everything like that. I set out to make this drawing a little while ago and landed on this. I think this is from a coloring book or something like that. And I drew this and was pretty happy with it. I liked Vampire Mickey and his garb. And then maybe like a day after I did this drawing, Disney released all of the 2020 Halloween merch at Downtown Disney and Disney Springs in Orlando. And there were all these new pins, Disney trading pins, with images of the new character costumes. So I went and actually found all those and decided to reproduce those. This was after I made the Mickey. So this is going to have two Mickey images in one. That's what I meant by there sort of being a bonus treat. The official 2020 Halloween Mickey is this image right here, which is a Magician Mickey. And this image I just found an image of the Disney pin that was released, like on Shop Disney or something like that. And I just drew the image of the pin. Disney, Mickey Mouse, rather, Magician Mickey, conjuring a bunch of candy from his magician's hat, which I thought was really fun. Magician Mickey is pretty cool. Now, like I said before, there's much that can be said about the history of the character, which is famously created by Walt Disney and also Ub Iwerks. They created the character together in 1928's Steamboat Willie. And we've had Mickey Mouse around ever since. And there's a lot about the creation of Mickey, the inspiration of Mickey, the history of Mickey, all of the different shorts that he's been in, and history, merchandising. I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff that can be said about him. I kind of wanted to say just a little bit about the voice acting over the years of Mickey and probably the other characters when I get around to making those videos, to sort of highlight some of the artistry that way. There have been many people actually who have voiced Mickey Mouse for one reason or another in some sort of official Disney capacity, as needed over the years. At least, maybe 10 different people or a dozen different people, maybe more, if you sort of look up through the history of that. But there have been probably primarily, I would say, 4 people who have sort of done the full load of voicing Mickey Mouse over the years, the longest stints, if you will. That if you've heard incarnations of Mickey, it's probably one of these people that you've heard. They've done most of the work of voicing Mickey. First off is Walt Disney himself. Famously voiced Mickey Mouse from pretty much the beginning. And like I said, there have been people who filled in for various reasons here and there when Walt was busy or for other reasons. But he primarily voiced Mickey for just about 20 years of Mickey's existence. After Mickey and the Beanstalk segment in Fun and Fancy Free, a movie that came out in the 40s, Walt sort of famously stopped doing the character so much. He did it for, intermittently for a few reasons after that, but really wasn't full-time voicing Mickey. He just didn't have the time to do it. At that point, the voicing of Mickey duties were relinquished over to Jimmy McDonald, who also voiced Mickey for roughly 20 years. Jimmy McDonald worked in the sound effects department at Walt Disney Studios, and was very famously made a bunch of sound effect inventions to help make sound effects for the various animated Disney films. And also did a lot of vocalizations for animals and things like that that appeared in the movies, and a lot of animals and sounds that we're all very familiar with if you've watched the canon of Disney animated films. He also did the voices of the original Chip, Jack and Gus from Cinderella, the mice from Cinderella. One of my personal favorites, Humphrey the Bear, which maybe not a lot of people know about, but it's worth looking up and checking out. The short cartoons featuring Humphrey the Bear with either Donald Duck or Ranger Smith. I think it's Ranger Smith. There's a park ranger. They're excellent. Those are some of my favorites, and I think highly underrated in the Disney catalog of shorts. Some of them I think are in Disney Plus, so seek that character out, check him out. It's cool. And Jimmy McDonald is related to that, and then also the load of voicing Mickey Mouse. Jimmy McDonald, as I said before, sort of created a lot of inventions for sound effects that were used with Walt Disney over the years, and famously also created some sound effects albums. Disneyland had a record company called Disneyland Records, and they put out a lot of albums, like storybook albums telling the stories of the films or playing music from the films, that sort of thing. Back before you could get these things on home video, it just didn't exist back then. You could get these record albums that would sort of have a little storybook that would show you the story of the film, and then maybe a record that would tell you the story or play the music or the score from the film. But speaking of records, Jimmy McDonald also famously made some sound effects records in that line, which is sort of the point I was working towards, that were just him doing his sound effect art on vinyl. And the most famous example is this album right here, Chilling, Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. This is all Jimmy McDonald sound effects, pretty much. And this is just a spooky sound effects album to sort of enhance your season. And this is an original copy from Disneyland Records. a vintage piece, not a reprint. This is something that my mother-in-law had for a really long time. She used to, when she was a kid, she grew up near Disneyland, so she had a bunch of this kind of stuff from way back when. So, Chilling Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. Jimmy McDonald is responsible for that. After Jimmy McDonald, Mickey was voiced primarily by Wayne Allwine for about 30 years. He kind of had like the longest stint, starting with Mickey's Christmas Carol in the early 80s. That was his debut, which was a theatrical release. That was his debut, and then he was the official voice of the character all the way up into the 2000s, like 2007 or 2008, I want to say. Wayne Allwine was also very famously married to Russi Taylor, who was a voice in the 90s of Minnie Mouse. And so, if you didn't know, the voice of Mickey and Minnie were married in real life at one point in time. And then after Wayne Allwine passed away, Brett Iwan took over the voicing duties of Mickey Mouse, and he's the official voice of Mickey from about 2009-ish all the way until now. He's still the official voice. In other certain series and shorts and things like that, Chris Diamantopoulos has been called upon to voice Mickey for some things during this time frame as well, but Brett Iwan is the official voice of Mickey Mouse. So these are the people who have done most of the voicing duties for Mickey over the years, and that I just sort of wanted to highlight them. Like I said, I could talk, forever pretty much about this character, and it would fill a whole lot of time. That's for another series, for another day. But I hope you enjoy seeing Halloween Magician Mickey, and I hope that you learned a few things that you didn't know before. I certainly did, and I hope this was a nice little bright, magical spot to your day. Thanks as always for watching these. I appreciate it. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I hope you follow along with me throughout this Halloween season. There will be lots more treats in store. As I do another drawing every single day. Like I said, there should be a link here somewhere right about this time for last year's series, and going forward there will be one for this series. You'll be able to enjoy those every single day. Thanks for coming back and enjoying these videos with me.